Hi folks, this is Jay. We're looking at my academic debate with Honest Atheist, and we've looked at the issue about myth of neutrality. We've looked at about 3 videos discussing this issue about can we look at things objectively. It not only relates to atheists, but it relates to Christians as well, but I'm strongly saying that the atheist community is biased. Secondly, we've looked at the issues of methodology. We've looked at basically some definitions about what truth is, etc., what is history, what is a fact, etc. And then we've looked at a general methodology of having a basic structure to be able to evaluate a particular theory or understanding of a particular fact or set of facts in history. And now we're going to look at some specific evidences for the historical Christ. And my argument throughout this video is going to be that we can know the historical Christ. Once we know the historical Christ, we can then move on to debate other aspects about the resurrection of Christ. Did he rise from the dead or not, based on the historical facts that we've gathered. What I want to do now is do a couple of videos, and then I'm going to leave it for today. I can't do 100 videos. I've done about 10 today, and I'll do some more when I can. And then I'm going to do a review reflecting on so far what's been done. So I think this will be 2 or 3 videos, and you can engage with this information at your leisure. Well, we're looking at the historicity of the Gospels. What that means is, when we're looking at the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, we're looking at real history. How do we know that? Well, number one, in the 20th century, it was once denied that the Gospels were history or biography. You know, the scholarship of Bultmann in the 1960s was strong, and he said that anything that is first century Jewish in the Gospels is obviously fake. That the only things in the Gospels that are true are the mythological Greek information that we find. But modern scholarship discovered that in the Gospels they relate and are rooted in first century Judaism, and what that meant was Bultmann was overturned, and scholars began to see actually the Gospels were not just Greek myth, but actually they relate to first century early Judaism and are rooted in a historical time frame. So that was a big revolution in scholarship, and we're still feeling the full force of it by now. Secondly, it is to be noted that in ancient biography, in the time of the Romans and the Greeks, before the first century Judaism and after first century Judaism, ancient biographers esteemed contemporary eyewitness accounts as the best source of a historical core of what to write. So in other words, the Gospels, we find that the Gospels were actually like the ancient historians and biographers were writing. And actually, when you look at that source material, they actually preferred to use primary source material concerning an eyewitness account. So when you're looking at the Gospels, you have to be open to that fact when you're investigating the data. It's no good saying, oh, this is myth. You've got to be willing to say, well, hang on a minute, in the context of the genre of the Gospels in ancient Rome and Greece, actually they did actually try to write historical information based on eyewitness accounts. Even though some of that eyewitness accounts might seem off the wall to us, that's how they were trying to write, and that's how we should look at the information. So we'll leave it there about some of the historicity of the Gospels, looking at first century Judaism, looking at ancient biographies. We see how the Gospels are rooted in that historical contingent situation, and it tells us that we're dealing with good historical material. Thank you for listening.